Have you ever wondered why some people feel the world owes them everything? It's a curious mindset, isn't it? This is what we call entitlement, the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. And it's not as innocent as it seems. This sense of entitlement can ripple through their lives, and even society, in surprising ways, leaving behind a trail of complications. Today, we delve into the profound implications of entitlement. Consider the case of a certain social media influencer. This individual had amassed a significant following on various platforms, and with that came a certain sense of entitlement. They began to believe that their online presence was a golden ticket, a bartering chip to exchange for free products or services. This influencer started reaching out to businesses, asking for freebies in return for a shout-out on their platform. They argued that the exposure they could provide was worth more than the cost of the products or services they were asking for. But here's where the problem started. Businesses started to push back. They argued that exposure doesn't pay the bills, and that they couldn't afford to give away their products or services for free. This backlash was swift and public, and the influencer's followers began to see a different side of the person they admired. The influencer's reputation took a hit. Accusations of greed and entitlement flooded their comment sections. Followers started to unfollow, and businesses began to distance themselves. All of this stemmed from the influencer's sense of entitlement, their belief that their online popularity entitled them to special treatment. It's a hard lesson learned, but an important one. This is a stark reminder of how entitlement can lead to a fall from grace. It's a cautionary tale for all of us, reminding us to keep our egos in check and remember that respect and value are earned, not given. Now let's shift our attention to a more common scenario, the case of a spoiled child. Imagine a child named Alex. From an early age, Alex was given everything he wanted. His parents, eager to provide, never saw the need to say no. Every whim was indulged, every demand met with immediate satisfaction. He grew up in a world where his desires were paramount. As Alex grew older, this sense of entitlement began to shape his relationships. He struggled to understand why his friends wouldn't always do what he wanted, why teachers didn't bend rules for him, why the world didn't revolve around his needs. His friendships strained and fractured under the weight of his expectations. When Alex entered the workforce, he was in for a rude awakening. The real world didn't cater to his every whim like his parents did. He was just another cog in the wheel, and his inability to cope with this reality led to feelings of resentment and frustration. Alex's story isn't unique. It's a textbook example of how unchecked entitlement can warp a person's worldview. It can strain relationships, hinder personal growth, and ultimately lead to a life of dissatisfaction. The key takeaway here is that entitlement isn't just about being spoiled in the traditional sense. It's about an inability to accept that the world doesn't owe us anything, and that we must earn our place in it. Clearly, unchecked entitlement can breed a host of problems. So, what are the real dangers of an entitlement mindset? We've seen how entitlement can breed in the realms of fame and privilege, through our social media influencer and the spoiled child. But let's take a moment to really unravel the implications of this mindset on a broader scale. Firstly, entitlement can create unrealistic expectations. When people believe they are inherently deserving of certain privileges, they tend to expect more than what's reasonable or fair. This can lead to constant dissatisfaction and frustration, as the world doesn't always conform to our personal desires. Secondly, entitlement can strain relationships. If one person feels entitled to more respect, attention, or resources than others, it can breed resentment and conflict. It's like trying to fill a bottomless pit, and in the process, they may end up alienating the people around them. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, entitlement can stifle personal growth. If someone feels they're already entitled to the best, what motivation is there to strive, to learn, to grow? The world becomes a place to take from, rather than a place to contribute to. The antidotes: humility, gratitude, and empathy. These are the qualities that foster connection, fulfillment, and personal growth. They remind us that we are part of a larger community, each with our own strengths and weaknesses, each deserving of respect and understanding. Remember, entitlement is a dangerous path, but one we can choose not to walk down.